Good evening. I am Faida Gaga. You can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBC Online. Also, get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook, and X pages at TBC Online. To commemorate the 63rd anniversary of the independence of mainland Tanzania, President Samia Suluhu Hassan has pardoned 1,548 prisoners who were serving various sentences in various correction facilities across the country. Among those pardoned include those whose sentences have been reduced by a quarter. In a statement issued by the Ministry of Home Affairs, it has been stated that the government expects the pardoned prisoners to return to society and be part of the nation-building process and refrain from committing new crimes. Others are prisoners with chronic illnesses, physical and mental disabilities, female prisoners who went to prison while they were pregnant or with newborns, as well as elderly prisoners aged 70 or more. Tanzania's foreign policy has evolved over the years to adapt to fast-changing global and regional dynamics, which have been coupled with economic and political shifts. To understand more on the transformation, my colleague Caroline Maleo speaks with Ambassador Mindi Kasiga, who is the Director of Government Communication Unit, who starts by elaborating how Tanzania has eventually proved to be better positioned as a key global and regional player as Tanzania mainland is marking 63 years of independence.
Bilateral relations is characterized by high-level visits. Once your relationship is at extreme highest by both sides, then we see exchange of high-level visits between the two leaders of our countries. So in the recent past, I'll say maybe during the few years that we have seen President Samia Suluhu Hassan as the head of government and country of Tanzania, she has invited a lot of African countries, leaders, together with other countries. For example, in the recent past, we have received President of Uganda, we have received President of Rwanda, President of Burundi, President of DRC Congo, President of Zambia, President of Kenya, President of Malawi, but also from across the globe, not just in Africa. We have seen President of Poland, President of Germany, President of Romania, President of Hungary, President of Indonesia, the Vice President of the United States of America, Vice President of Cuba, Prime Minister of Ethiopia, and also Vice Prime Minister of China. All these visits signifies that we are in very good relationship with them, to the point that they trust one of their highest leaders, in most cases presidents, to come and conduct a state visit in Tanzania.
I would also like to know, how has the recent economic diplomacy strategy helped our country to tap on what the modern day international diplomacy can actually offer?
That's a very interesting point, because some of the achievements of our foreign policy, like I said earlier, also adjusted or assisted us to pivot towards economic diplomacy. So once we played a very great role in political independence and assisting others and building strong relations with our friends and neighbors from around the world, we had to make sure that also economically we are doing stable. And as we know, after everybody has attained their independence, then they can be easily achieve also economic independence. So much as we were working with other neighboring countries in achieving their political independence, we also established great economic ties.
You have spoken about this, but I would like to hear more. How has Tanzania proved to be a key regional player in the East African community, in the SADC community, and in the whole of Africa? And how has the individual Tanzanians benefited from this cooperation economically?
The establishment of our diplomatic missions throughout the world has assisted us to have a larger footprint. Currently, we have 45 diplomatic missions across the world, and we have 5 general consulates. This is a large footprint by a country of our size, but also it helps us generate more interest in terms of what Tanzania has to offer in the outside world. Tanzania is also positioned strategically. We are the gateway to the Eastern African region from outside Africa. Together with other countries that we're bordering with, we have, I think, 8 countries that are bordering Tanzania. So you can access any of these countries, most of them landlocked countries. You can access them if you enter through Tanzania. And we have the largest coastline if you compare to the rest of the region, of the countries in the region. So that means our port is a preferred choice by outside world when it comes to trade and partnership with others. So that gives us a very good reason to champion East African community, because now we are advocating for more trade, more cooperation between people to people, free movement of goods and services, but also eventually people, eventually for same currency, eventually a lot of things. But if I'm an investor from outside Africa, I know if I want to tap into what is available in the East African integration, then I'll look at Tanzania as my first priority.
We were here with Her Excellence Ambassador Mindy Kasiga, who is the Director of the Government Communications Unit at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation. Back to you, Faiden Gaga.
Thank you very much, Caroline Maleo. Media, especially Radio Tanzania Dar es Salaam RTD, played a key role in Tanzania's independence struggles, and celebrating 63 years of independence and the role the media has played. My colleague Vioba Stephen speaks with veteran journalist and former executive director of Tanzania Media Women Association, TAMWA, Eda Sanga, who starts by elaborating how important the media was in the independence struggle and how imperative it is in the modern day development.
When we are celebrating today the 63 years of Tanzania independence, what has been the great contribution of the LTD in this?
Okay, I think we have contributed a lot in terms of, first of all, RTD was then the only radio station, and we were given the task of making sure Tanzanians, first of all, understand what independence means. And for this, we didn't have to do much, because Julius Nyerere, the first president, was occasionally calling our leaders to brief them, to give them the ABCDs of what the country wanted to do, what it was about to do. So when the leaders came back with, after having conversation with the head of state, it was easy for us to take that into program making, to make sure that we are in tandem with what the state wanted Tanzanians to know. And we had experts who were ready to come for interviews, but also who were ready also to give, talks about different aspects of what Tanzania, or how Tanzania was going through.
And do you remember any specific or remarkable program that by that time it was done to promoting national unity?
I would say all programs were meant to promote national unity, because that was actually the basis of why we were there in the first place, to make sure that people in Tanzania understood what Tanzania is about, but also beyond our borders. We needed to tell other people to know, what kind of people Tanzanians were, hospitable, people who were ready to help. Mind you, that was the time that Mwalimu in 1963 assisted in making sure we have OAU, and OAU's mandate was to bring about unity and to bring about freedom, but freedom that also meant to cater for other countries in Africa that were colonized or were going through apartheid.
And coming from a place where at that particular time it was a young nation with more tribes, I mean, up to now it's more tribes. So how did the RTD play a part in promoting the use of Swahili language in general?
Okay. That maybe was one of the things that I'm proud to say we managed to do very well. And why? Because the leaders that were, with us at RTD made sure that whatever we put on air was done with Kiswahili that was, the language that was supposed to be. Kiswahili, the language that was supposed to be, including how we delivered whatever it was, whether it was news or programs, but in Kiswahili that also helped other people to understand, but also to make sure that we speak good Kiswahili, so that as radio broadcasters, we were like teachers to the ordinary people, those who went to school, but those who didn't have the chance to go to school. We all had the opportunity to learn Kiswahili that was, the best Kiswahili there is.
So as we keep celebrating the 63 years of independence of the mainland, we are going back to the studio. Faith Nganga, back to you.
Thank you, Rioba Stephen. In other news, economic analysts have praised the Tanzanian government for the steps that have been taken since colonial times to change the country's economic structures to be more inclusive and serving interests of Tanzanians. But how can individual Tanzanians tap into what the Tanzanian economy can offer after 63 years of independence? We are joined by Professor Samuel Wangwe, who is an economic analyst who elaborates how Tanzania's economic advantages can be of value to a common Tanzanian and what does the future hold for the nation.
There are two perspectives there. One, the individuals must be able to contribute to development through their communities and through their local government authorities, and also through government support to facilitate them to be able to be active. And the third, which links to the last point I made, the government is not going to invest directly in enterprises anymore, but they're going to invest in areas which make it easier for individuals to participate in investments and in contributing to development with the facilitation by the government. So it must always be mindful about how the interventions actually matter to make people active. And in reporting their performance, they should be able to say, last year, this is what we did, and so many people were uplifted because of what we intervened, the interventions we made. I think this is the challenge which we have.
As Tanzania mainland celebrates 63 years of independence, Tanzania boasts diplomatic ties with many countries worldwide, including Norway. Former President Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere, the founding father of Tanzania, played a pivotal role in establishing the diplomatic ties in 1964, together with his counterpart, King Olav of Norway. The Norwegian ambassador to Tanzania, Tun Tynes, elaborates the crucial role played by both the leaders in kick-starting the ties between the two states.
How crucial was the role of Mwalimu Nyerere and King Olav at the time in the establishing these diplomatic ties that we are celebrating today?
Thank you so much for raising that issue. Let me say a few words about our late King Olav. He was a very modest man. He was a king, but he was very much concerned about people's welfare. He wanted to listen to them and to listen to their needs. He was very fortunate, and he met Malemo Nyerere 2 times when Malemo Nyerere, President Nyerere, came to Norway. And what I hear and the books I've read about Malemo Nyerere is that they were very much the same type of leaders. They were very much concerned about their people and wanted the best for their people. They were very much listening to the people, discussing, explaining to the people, and wanting the best for them. So I think that time, the 2 leaders that came together and very much saw that there are shared values, not only about how to work today, but also how to develop societies. And I think that has also meant a lot for the cooperation between the 2 countries. I think that you still see the same kind of the legacy of late Nyerere in Tanzania very much. And I think that legacy is to take that also with Tanzania in the year forward. The focus on people and people's welfare and their needs is very, very important. And we will do what we can also in the 6 decades to come, at least, to continue to build the relationship between our 2 countries.
The Chancellor of the University of Dar es Salaam and the former President of Tanzania, Dr. Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete, has directed the management of the University of Dar es Salaam to make its ongoing projects public so that they know how the financial resources they contribute through taxes are being used. Here are more details.
Speaking after inspecting the building of the Institute of Marine Sciences located in Buyu, Zanzibar, which was stuck for more than 20 years, Dr. Kikwete expresses his satisfaction with the construction of the building, which upon completion of the project will bring about major reforms in the blue economy.
It is a major research center researching all matters related to marine science. In this region, I truly don't believe there is any other facilities like this. It has never existed before. And this is indeed a unique center. I believe that once we complete the laboratories and have the trainers of lecturers in place, we will elevate it to that level. And that is when I will brand the University of Dar es Salaam as an important center for marine research, marine life, and aquatic organisms.
On the other hand, the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Dar es Salaam, Professor William Manangisye, says the project will create more opportunities for students to study masters and doctorates.
In this project, there are opportunities for students to pursue master's degree and PhDs, so we expect that it will enhance their capabilities in the field of marine sciences.
The deputy coordinator of the HEAT project, Dr. Liberato Haule, says the 6th-phase government has invested more than 11.1 billion, enabling the achievement of 50% of the implementation of the project.
The construction has now reached 50% completion, and in the contract they signed for 10.1 billion shillings, the contractor has already been paid 3.6 billion shilling, which will not include work here and work on the dormitory on other side. Once this construction is completed, significant changes will occur here.
The 18-month project is expected to be completed on August 21st next year, and it will have the capacity to accommodate 250 students along with 5 sciences laboratories.
The Tanzania Ports Authority, TPA, has started a rehabilitation project to upgrade the loading and unloading pier at Kilindoni Port in the Mafia Islands, which sank in September this year, and thus making ships unable to dock at the area. According to the TPA officer, Nyamisati Mkango, the project started at the end of October 2024 and is progressing well, insisting that TPA is working day and night to ensure that the pier is completed on time.
The ferry encountered some technical problems and sank, but it was raised. The port management addressed this issue, and starting from October, it has been under maintenance. As we speak, I can confirm it is undergoing repairs on the starboard side where new sheets have been installed. On the port side, we have made some changes.
And the Kibiti District Commissioner, Colonel Joseph Colombo, urges Tanzania Ports Authority to speed up the rehabilitation project so as to eliminate problems experienced by the residents of the islands who depend on air and water transport only.
What we are requesting is that these ports be properly strengthened so that they do not rely solely on the water level, which is why there is a significant backlog of passengers. Mafia depends heavily on resources from the mainland, and those resources come by sea. This means that if a vessel remains idle or is not in use for a week, it can severely impact tourism in Mafia.
In case you missed any of our stories, remember you can always go to our YouTube channel at TVC Online and watch anytime, anywhere around the globe. Now, before we wind up local news, let's have a look at today's exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Do not miss TBC News every weekday to know all the latest in exchange rates. Time now for all the latest in international news. Now let's have a look at international news as compiled and read to you by Nyambona Masamba.
International news starts in Africa. Ghana's governing party candidate considered defeat in Saturday's presidential election just hours after the vote counting began. The opposition party were convincingly. After a tense night of anticipation in Ghana, the vice president of governing the NPP candidate, Mahmoud Bawumia, acknowledged defeat in Saturday's presidential poll. Bawumia said he considered to save Ghana from unnecessary violence. And so supporters of the opposition erupted in a celebration capital and across the country. President-elect John Mahama welcomed Bawumia's concession. To Syria, opposition forces in Syria are taking control of state institutions. They captured the capital Damascus on Sunday, ending Bashar al-Assad's 24 years rule. The fighters are now pushing towards the strongholds of Latakia and Tatou. In Damascus, people are still celebrating 24 hours of the fall of Bashar al-Assad. They are celebrating the birth of new Syria, hoping the revolution is going to open up a new chapter for them. The Syrian flag with 3 stars, a symbol of new regime, is seen almost everywhere. Syria used to have a flag which has a single star. Specialized team from White Helmet organization and Sednaya searching for detainees hidden sites there. To Russia, Bashar al-Assad has fled to Russia. He and his family members have arrived in Moscow. It is official, and the news has been published by Russian state agencies. The Russian authorities has granted him political asylum. Reports say Russia hasn't abandoned Syrian president in such difficult circumstances. Assad is said to be evacuated by Russia plane from Russian air base in Latakia. The Syrian opposition has reportedly guaranteed the security of Russian military base in Latakia and Tartu, as well as diplomatic mission in the country. That is very important for Russia and Russian government. The opposition in Syria are forming the transitional authority. Russia requested emergency consultation with UN Security Council to the situation in Syria. Moscow has urged all parties to manage peaceful transitional power using political means. Meanwhile, U.S. military says it has carried out dozens of airstrikes on ISIL targets in Syria. The U.S. Central Command said the strikes were aimed to ensure ISIL does not take advantage of the fall of Assad's regime. President Joe Biden addressed the situation from the White House, saying this is a moment of both opportunity and risk in Syria. He said U.S. is hastened that opposition leaders are saying the right was at this moment, promising a future government that is inclusive, perhaps moderate. However, the U.S. will be watching to see in those ways turn into action. He kept going, saying, if this is peaceful transfer of power led by Syrian people, eventually U.S. could pledge humanitarian aid to rebuild the country.
That was international news. Sports news up next. And in sports news, players participating in the tournament to celebrate 63 years of independence say they will use the 63rd Squash Independent Cup 2024 to showcase their talents and promote the game in Tanzania. Speaking to TBC News in Dar es Salaam, the players say they are proud to be part of the Uhuru Championship Games as it reminds them of the independence movement, while the organizer of the tournament calls on sports fans to come to enjoy the tournament as the players are ready to display high competition standards.
So the level of competition also is very, very good, very, very competitive, of which I think also it's, in a way, a practical lesson for the kids to see where they want to go, where squash can be played at the higher level, yeah? So I think it was important for us to...
Because squash is my favorite game. I'm very proud and good to play squash.
Than 100 senior and young players from Zambia, Kenya, and the host Tanzania are participating in the tournament. In other sports news, designers Jane Jacquin from Mayotte and Kobe Young from Trinidad and Tobago, participating in Swahili Fashion Week, urge Tanzanian designers to promote the unique Tanzanian culture through design work. The designers told TBC News in Dar es Salaam that Tanzania has been endowed with vast richness and culture and tradition, and if displayed through design work, will boost business and tourism in Tanzania.
Kanga has a lot of hopes, you know, because in West Africa they are really proud of their traditional materials they are wearing and promoting the wax kitenge. So here in the Swahili world, we have to be proud of what we have, and we have the Kanga. And this is like a flag for the Swahili world and this entire African East fashion.
Because I'm from the Caribbean, I have the opportunity to experience different cultures. I would have experienced the African culture, the Indian culture, the Portuguese culture, the Chinese culture. So that is where I get my inspiration from as a designer. I draw from different cultures. You have no idea. I am so excited to go back home and to work on things that I would have drawn from Tanzania. Your culture, the food, oh my God, the food is like the best. If I stay here for a year, I would be like big and fat.
15th Swahili Fashion Week attracts many local and international participants who are showcasing their talents through design and style. That was sports news. And now, before we wind up the news bulletin for tonight, let's have a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
Good evening, dear viewers. I'm Desderi Moses from Tanzania Meteorological Authority. As we continue celebrating the 63 independence anniversary, please stay with me for the latest 24 hours weather updates.
starting from 9 p.m. tonight. Windy patterns are showing light wind moving at a speed of 20 kilometers per hour over Lake Victoria, Lake Tanganyika, Lake Nyasa, and the entire coastal strip of Indian Ocean. Rainfall models are showing persistence of rainfall signals over most part of our country, including the northern coast of the Indian Ocean, where Tanzania Meteorological Authority has issued an advisory of periods of heavy rains over a few areas over Morogoro region, over Dar es Salaam and Pwani regions, including Mafia, ISOs over Tanga regions, together with Unguja and Pemba ISOs. Residents from these areas are advised to take all necessary precautions. Tonight, dear viewers, partly cloudy conditions, thunder showers over a few areas is expected over the southwestern highland regions, together with the western part of our country. This weather is also expected to be featured over Lake Victoria Basin regions, with exception over Kagera and Mara regions, where are expected to feature thunderstorms over a few areas. The remaining part of our country is expected to feature rain showers over a few areas, with exception of Ruvuma region, together with Lindi and Mtwara regions, where are expected to be mainly dry. For tomorrow, dear viewers, light rain showers is expected over Lindi and Mtwara regions, while over Ruvuma region, Morogoro, Dar es Salaam, together with Pwani regions, including Mafia, ISOs, are expected to feature rain showers over a few areas. The remaining part of our country is expected to feature thunder showers over a few areas and sun period. Now, let us have a look at the weather forecast for the next 4 days for some regions in our country. Sun period is expected to persist in the next 4 days over Dar es Salaam. For Dodoma region, thunder showers together with light rain is expected, while over Mbeya region, the lowest minimum temperature is expected to be 14 degrees Celsius. For Mwanza region, thunder showers is expected to persist in the next 4 days. This weather is also expected over Kilimanjaro regions in the next 4 days. For Morogoro regions, sun period is expected in the next 4 days, while for Arusha region, thunder showers is expected. From Tanzania Meteorological Authority, until next time, we wish you a good night.
And that marks the end of the news bulletin for tonight. Do not miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. I am Faida Ngaga. Good night.
Ever since March 1961, Tanganyika has been looking forward to independence. At Dar es Salaam airport, the crowds waited to welcome Tanganyika's guests for the independence celebrations. All the time, planes were arriving from many parts of the world, bringing more and more visitors to be present on this great occasion. His Worship the Mayor and a real African welcome awaited Mrs. Charlotte Pugh from Mansfield, USA, Dar es Salaam's twin city in America.